Good evening, everybody. So this week I was working on deep cleaning my house, what some would refer to as spring cleaning. You get done with one room and then you clean the next room and you put all the junk that you took from one room into the next. You get the idea. Um, but the point is to try and clean it all out, right? Not just move the junk from one room to the next, and actually get it all put away. And if it doesn't have a place, figure out what you're going to do with it because you shouldn't keep it, right? And so that got me to thinking about the idea of spring cleaning. I think when we look at like New Year's, we look at New Year's resolutions, we look at thinking about where our heart's at, if we're where we want to be. But I think we kind of forget that in the middle of the year. We're kind of getting to that point where those New Year's resolutions are wearing off, if you're somebody that practices that. And we're getting to the point where we can start to think about new stuff. And I think as Christians, we need to be constantly reevaluating our lives. We need to be constantly evaluating how we're doing. If we've got any junk in the corner, that dog hair that's escaped the vacuum, that we need to clean out, right? Maybe I'm alone in that dog hair thing. We've got Loki, and he's massive, and he gets hair everywhere, and it's like tumbleweeds through the house after 5 minutes after vacuuming. It's insane. Those of you with pets probably get me. But I want to read a scripture here, Psalm 32, 3-5. When I kept silent about my sin, my body wasted away through my groaning all day long. For day and night your hand was heavy upon me. My vitality was drained away as with the fever heat of summer. Selah. I acknowledged my sin to you, and my iniquity I did not hide. I said, I will confess my transgressions to the Lord, and you forgave the guilt of my sin. Selah. So this scripture talks about you got to be introspective. You've got to look at those things. You've got to acknowledge those sins before God. Sometimes I think we forget that He is all forgiving. He wants us to come to Him with our problems. He wants us to not try and hide things from Him. I mean, we can try all we want, but we're not doing all that great. It's just an illusion if we're trying to hide something, right, that He can see everything. So what's the point? We need to search within ourselves and say, is there something I'm hiding? Is there something that I'm tucking into another room to deal with later? I'm not going to tackle this thing in my life because it's too big or it's too difficult. I know with ADHD, there's a term called doom boxes, where you take a random box and you throw all the things that you don't know where they go in that box. And then you put that box somewhere, and that's put away. And then a few months later, you come across this box, and it's like you've discovered a whole new concept. Like all this stuff, it's just like, oh man, I didn't know this stuff existed. But it pops back up. You have to deal with it, and it's much harder to deal with it when it's a whole box of stuff that you didn't want to deal with, as opposed to one or two things that you didn't want to deal with. There's a reason it's called a doom box, right? And so when we are spring cleaning, so to speak, we need to make sure we're not creating these doom boxes, that we are going through every aspect of our life. It doesn't have to be all in one day. Just take it piece by piece, take it chunk by chunk. Don't procrastinate and go after it. I know we can all do it. With that, that's all I have for you tonight. I'll see you guys later.